Imagine you are standing at the bottom of a massive mountain.
Right.
Its peak is hidden in the clouds, and, well, just looking up makes your neck ache. You feel tiny.
Yeah, that is a scary feeling.
It really is. You feel like giving up before you even take a single step.
Mm-hmm.
And for many people, that giant mountain is the idea of becoming fluent in a new language.
Oh, absolutely.
But what if I told you that you are looking at the mountain completely wrong?
Yeah.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into an excellent source called Easy Talk English, Turning Dreams into Gold.
It is such a great guide.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how to build a reliable bridge between, where you are right now and exactly where you want to be.
And we are going to do all of this using very clear, simple English. I actually want to point out something incredibly important to you, the listener, right from the start.
Please do.
Just by being here, just by listening to this deep dive, you are actively training your brain in a second language.
That is so true. You are already doing the hard work.
Exactly. Today, we aren't just going to give you motivational quotes. We want to look at the actual mechanics of success.
The real steps.
Right. We want to show you how to take a distant star in the sky, which is your dream, and turn it into a solid ladder that you can actually climb.
I love that image. But before we jump into those mechanics, let's set a quick ground rule for our time together today.
Good idea.
We are going to speak at a comfortable, natural pace. You do not need to understand every single word we say today.
It's not at all.
If you grasp 50% of the ideas in this conversation, well, that is a huge victory. Just follow the flow of the concepts.
Yeah, 50% is absolutely a win. I mean, the brain learns through context, so just stay relaxed.
Right. So to start building that ladder we mentioned, we first have to understand why so many people fail before they even begin.
Yes. The source material draws a very sharp line between a dream and a goal.
We usually think those are the same thing, don't we?
We do. We tend to use those words as if they mean the exact same thing. But practically, there are opposites.
Wait, opposites? How so?
Well, a dream is purely emotional. It is the destination. It is the feeling of asking, what if I lived in Italy?
Oh, I see. Or what if I could confidently speak English in a business meeting?
Exactly. A dream is just saying, I want to go to Paris. It feels really good to say it out loud.
But it doesn't actually get you to France.
Right. The goal, on the other hand, is the specific map.
Okay, let's unpack this. So the goal is the actual steps.
Yes. The goal is buying the train ticket. It is packing the suitcase, setting a schedule, and knowing your deadline.
The text gives a really great example about physical health, right?
It does.
Right.
Most people walk around saying, I want to be fit. But that isn't a goal. It is just a vague wish.
Because you can't measure fit.
Precisely. A goal requires very specific details.
Yeah.
Taking that same desire and turning it into a goal sounds like this.
Let's hear it.
I will walk outside for 20 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning for the next month.
Wow, that is very specific. You can look at a calendar and actually check a box. Did you walk at 7 o'clock today? Yes or no?
Exactly. It removes all the emotion and leaves only the action.
If we think about this in terms of food, it is like the difference between hunger and a recipe.
Oh, like that.
Yeah. A dream is the hunger in your stomach. You absolutely need that hunger because it gives you the energy to get into the kitchen.
Right. Without hunger, you wouldn't even try.
But if you only have hunger and you refuse to read the recipe, which is the goal, you are just going to stand in the kitchen staring at raw ingredients.
That is a perfect way to look at it. What is fascinating here is that without the dream, you have no fire.
Yeah.
But without the goal, you are just running around the kitchen making a huge mess. You are hungry, but you aren't actually cooking anything.
So is it fair to say people fail because they have a lot of hunger, but they just refuse to read the recipe?
I think so, yes. The problem, however, is that sometimes the recipe is so complex or the destination is so far away that it completely paralyzes us.
Which brings us right back to that massive mountain I mentioned earlier.
Yes, the mountain.
The word fluent. The source points out how dangerous that word can be for an English learner.
It's really dangerous.
When a learner says, I want to be fluent, they're staring at the very top of the mountain. And the sheer amount of vocabulary and grammar required to reach the top, well, it makes the brain panic.
It creates cognitive overload. When the brain feels overwhelmed by the size of a task, its natural defense mechanism is to just shut down.
It just wants to avoid the task entirely.
Exactly. So the solution the source offers is a shift in your visual focus.
Okay, but what does that mean?
You have to stop looking at the peak of the mountain. You must look down at your shoes and only focus on the next 3 steps.
So taking just 3 steps today means you build the capacity to take 3 more steps tomorrow.
Right. The text shares a personal story about a man named Mark that perfectly shows this.
Oh, the football story.
Yes. When Mark was 10 years old, his giant mountain was professional football. He wanted to play in the World Cup.
He would close his eyes and imagine 80,000 people in a stadium all chanting his name.
But as Mark grew up, reality stepped in. He realized he wasn't the fastest player. He wasn't the most skilled player on the grass.
That is a hard truth to face.
It is, but more importantly, he realized he actually enjoyed talking about the strategy of the game much more than he enjoyed running in the rain for 90 minutes.
Now, wait a second. Let me push back on this idea of only looking at our feet.
Sure, go ahead.
If we never look up at the mountain and we only focus on the next 3 steps, how do we know we aren't walking in the completely wrong direction? We could be walking right off a cliff.
That is a very fair point. That is the exact danger of blind action, and is why Mark's story is so crucial right here.
Okay, how so?
You look at your feet to keep your forward momentum, but you use your feelings as your compass. You have to occasionally pause and check the spirit of your dream.
The spirit of the dream. I like that.
Mark asked himself what he truly loved about his football dream, and it wasn't the physical running.
It was the energy of the crowd. It was that feeling of connection.
Exactly. So he adapted. He changed his direction and became a communicator and a podcaster.
Oh, wow. So he kept the core energy of his dream, but he changed the specific steps to match his actual talents.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You use the small steps to keep moving, but you use your internal feelings to adjust the steering wheel.
But even if you are steering perfectly and taking your small steps, human nature guarantees that you are going to hit a roadblock.
Oh, inevitably.
In the source text, they pinpoint exactly when this happens. It is usually week 3.
Week 3 is notorious in psychology. When you first start a new project, like learning English, you are in what they call the honeymoon phase.
Everything is new and exciting.
Exactly. During week 1, your brain is flooded with a chemical called dopamine. Is the chemical of novelty and excitement.
You buy new pens, you download a shiny new language app.
Right. And you feel like a superhero studying for 2 hours a day.
But dopamine doesn't last forever.
No, it does not. By week 3, the novelty completely wears off. The dopamine drops, and cognitive fatigue sets in.
You are tired from your job, the Wi-Fi is slow, you look at your textbook and realize you still can't understand a movie in English.
And that is when you hit what the source calls the wall. And when you hit the wall, your brain immediately starts looking for an escape route.
And that escape route is usually the sofa.
Yes, the sofa is not just a piece of furniture. It represents gravity. It is the invisible force of comfort pulling you down.
Your brain says, hey, you worked hard today. You deserve to sit down and watch a show. You can study tomorrow.
And tomorrow never comes.
Right. Here is where it gets really interesting, though. The source provides a specific tool to break free from that gravity. They call it the 2-minute rule.
I love this rule.
When you hit the wall and your goal feels completely impossible, you shrink the goal until it is too small to fail.
Too small to fail. So instead of studying for an hour, your only requirement is to open your book and read 3 sentences.
Yes, or if your goal is going to the gym, your only requirement is to just tie your running shoes.
The psychology here is all about reducing friction. The hardest part of any task is not the task itself.
Really? What is it then?
It is the transition. It is the 10 seconds it takes to go from doing nothing to doing something.
Ah, that makes sense.
By making the goal incredibly small, like tying a shoelace, you create the escape velocity needed to break the sofa's gravity.
Because once the shoes are on, 90% of the time, you will just go ahead and do the workout anyway.
Exactly.
But let me question this logic for a second.
Wait for it.
Is reading 3 sentences really enough time to learn anything? I mean, or is this just a fake mental trick we are playing on ourselves to feel productive?
Well, it is absolutely a mental trick.
Okay, so I was right.
Yes, but it is a necessary one.
Mm-hmm.
You are right that reading 3 sentences won't make you fluent. But linguistic progress isn't the point of the 2-minute rule.
It isn't. Then what is the point?
The point is protecting your identity. You are trying to build the mental pathway of consistency.
Ah, consistency.
Showing up for 2 minutes every single day proves to your brain that you are a person who studies.
Because if you study for 10 hours on a Sunday and then do nothing for a month, you don't build a habit.
Right, and you forget all the material. The 2-minute rule ensures that the chain of consistency never breaks. It completely removes your ability to make excuses.
Because everyone has 2 minutes.
Exactly.
So we use the 2-minute rule to defeat our own internal gravity. But what happens when the resistance isn't coming from inside our own minds?
Oh, this is tough.
What happens when the people standing right next to us are the ones pulling us down?
This is truly one of the most difficult parts of pursuing any goal.
Mm-hmm.
The text refers to these external forces as dream killers.
Dream killers. That sounds intense.
It is. You get excited about your progress, you
Yeah.
tell a friend that you plan to move to London or apply for a job in English, and they immediately throw a bucket of cold water on your fire.
They tell you it's too expensive, or that your English isn't good enough yet.
Or that you should just be happy with what you already have.
It is incredibly painful when it comes from people you trust. But the source explains the psychology behind why they do it. And surprisingly, it usually isn't because they are evil.
No, not at all. Often it comes from a place of love and fear. They don't want to see you fail and get your heart broken.
So they try to keep you in a safe, comfortable box.
Exactly. But there is a darker, more subconscious reason, too.
What is that?
When you decide to improve yourself, you accidentally hold up a mirror to the people around you. Your growth highlights their lack of growth.
Oh, wow. That makes them uncomfortable.
Yes. It reminds them of the goals they gave up on. By convincing you to stop trying, they protect their own egos. They just don't want to be left behind.
To survive this, the source uses a very beautiful image. You have to treat your new dream like a sacred garden.
A sacred garden.
Yes. When a dream is new, it is like a very fragile young plant. If you expose it to a harsh storm, which is the negative opinions of other people, it will be destroyed.
You have to protect that plant in a greenhouse until the roots are deep and strong.
But what does this all mean for our relationships? Am I supposed to just stop talking to my family and friends if they don't instantly cheer for my goals?
No, you don't need to cut people out of your life.
Okay, good. That seemed a bit extreme.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you just need to become highly protective of your garden's gate. You don't give everyone the key.
So you become selective about who you share your early, fragile ideas with.
Yes. The text suggests finding success partners.
A success partner isn't necessarily someone in your exact field, right?
Not at all.
Duh.
It is just someone who fundamentally respects hard work.
It is a person who looks at you and says, I have no idea how you are going to achieve this, but I know how hard you work, so I believe you will figure it out.
Precisely. You share your fragile dreams with your success partners. And you simply talk about the weather with the dream killers.
I love that rule. Talk about the weather. But to truly protect that garden and to maintain the discipline of your 2-minute rule, you need an anchor. You need to understand your deep why.
Yes, your foundation.
The source outlines a framework of power words to help define this why. Things like vision, obstacle to breakdown, priority, and resilience.
And rather than just listing them out as vocabulary, we can actually see how they function together in the stories of the people from the text, like Sarah.
Yes, Sarah's story was great. She had a clear vision. She wanted to buy a house by the sea.
But a vision alone isn't enough, because life always presents an obstacle.
For Sarah, the obstacle was financial. The mountain was just too big.
So she had to break down the problem into smaller pieces, like cutting a pizza into slices. She decided to save a specific amount of money each week.
The fascinating part is that her true why wasn't actually the physical building. She didn't spend years saving money just because she liked wood and glass.
No, her deep motivation was the desire for peace.
She believed that living by the water would make her feel calm, which would allow her to be a kinder, more patient mother to her children.
And that emotional root system gave her resilience. It gave her the ability to bounce back and keep saving money, even on months when her car broke down and she had unexpected expenses.
We see the same pattern with Mark. His vision shifted to becoming a podcaster, but his deep why was human connection.
He wanted to ensure that his listeners felt less isolated in their rooms.
On the days when he was exhausted and didn't want to record, remembering that someone out there needed to hear his voice gave him the resilience to turn on the microphone.
Right. It gave him purpose.
Now, the source brings up one final power word in this process, and it is a tricky one. The word is priority.
Ah, yes. Priority.
The text claims that if you have 10 goals, you actually have 0 goals. It says you must choose one priority. But let me push back here.
Go ahead.
In modern life, how do you pick just one priority? I mean, your job, your English learning, and your health, all feel like life or death priorities.
It is a massive struggle.
Yeah,
But the key is understanding that priority doesn't mean ignoring everything else forever.
it doesn't.
No. Choosing one priority doesn't mean you abandon your job to learn English. It means identifying the lead domino for a specific moment in time.
The lead domino.
Yes. You ask yourself, right now, in this season of my life, which single action will make all the other actions easier?
So, if your health is failing, you literally cannot do your job well and you cannot study effectively.
Exactly.
Therefore, for this month, getting 8 hours of sleep and exercising becomes the lead domino. It becomes the priority so that everything else can function.
You got it. Finding your emotional why helps you figure out which domino needs to be pushed first on any given day.
We have covered some truly powerful concepts today. Let's gather the most important insights from this deep dive in clear, slow English.
Good idea.
First, we learned that a vague dream is just a feeling. We must convert it into a measurable goal, a specific map.
Second, we must stop staring at the terrifying peak of the mountain. We must focus strictly on taking the next 3 steps.
We also discussed the reality of week 3. When your motivation drops and you hit the wall, you have to use the 2-minute rule to fight the sofa.
Because showing up for 2 minutes builds consistency.
Furthermore, we explored the necessity of a sacred garden. You must protect your fragile new goals from dream killers by only sharing them with true success partners.
And finally, you have to dig deep to find your emotional why. That is what gives you the resilience to keep going.
Before we wrap up, I know you wanted to speak directly to the listener one more time.
Yes, I do. To you, listening right now, the simple fact that you are listening to a complex conversation in a second language means you are already a success story.
It really does.
You are ahead of 90% of the world. You're actively building a new version of yourself. Most people run away when things get difficult, but you stayed. You should be incredibly proud of that.
That is exactly right. To close out our deep dive today, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, something that builds on what we just discussed.
What is it?
We spent a lot of time talking about how the secret to consistency is making a goal so small that you cannot fail. Like just putting on your running shoes or reading 3 sentences.
Right.
If that is true, then what does your absolute worst day minimum effort look like for tomorrow?
Oh, that is a great question.
When you are stressed, exhausted, and everything goes wrong, what is the one tiny action you'll still commit to doing? And is it possible that learning how to conquer your worst days is secretly much more powerful than waiting around for your best days?
That is something to really think about.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep building that ladder step by step. Until next time.